Hey guys, welcome back to another race recap video. This was the UC Davis Aggie Flatlands crit. It was the second day of our local collegiate race, and the first day had been the previous day, which actually happened to be my birthday. It was a road race that had a combined collegiate C and D field, and I wound up winning the D field that day with my teammate Lars in second place. You guys have met Lars before, super strong guy. He's in this race as well. Basically, all of the hitters from the previous day's field were in this race as well. This course is pretty simple. It's just around the UC Davis campus quad. It's a pretty simple rectangle. Yeah, so we're just about to get the race started here. And we're off. So let's just go over the hitters today. Right here in the Berkeley kit on the white Swerks and the white socks, that's Zicheng. He's got a massive FTP. He can basically bring back any attack that I personally or any solo rider could throw at him. He rides for Berkeley. In front of him is his teammate Max in the black helmet and the same Berkeley kit. Max is an immensely powerful sprinter. He's also got the ability to just sit on Zicheng's wheel for pretty much whatever Zicheng can throw at him. On the left here in the black and yellow kit is my teammate Jackson. He's pretty much our only representation in the C's. And we pretty much expected that the C's would come down to a sprint between Jackson and Max. Max is also in the C's. Me and Lars are in the D's. So again, this is a combined field, but with separate podiums. Zicheng is also in the C's. So yeah, we're coming around through to the end of the first lap right here. And yeah, it was a pretty quick start. The issue is that the surface is quite bumpy, right? It's a road that's used really often by all sorts of riders, and in the corners you can see these cones coming, and it's because of the fact that there's the curbs on the outside of the turn. So the turns are actually quite narrow. They're probably only around one street width wide, which makes making these turns quite difficult.
What the hell is Jared doing?
So you can ask me what my teammate Jared is up on the front. He's also in the C's, and he had rolled off the front kind of on accident, and I was wondering what was going on, because that just didn't seem like the smart move. But okay, it's whatever. We'll roll with it for now. So I'm just sitting in, seeing what's going on. Nothing really happens for a couple laps. Until about this point, we're making it up to the second to last corner, and I notice Lars has rolled off the front. And I realize he's solo. Now yesterday, me and Lars were able to trade pulls and stay away from the field, so I figure, okay, maybe, just maybe, we can get a second day in a row of break action for me and Lars, and maybe we can 1-2 the field. So I slingshot off the back as best as I can, put in pretty much burn my sprint match real soon, trying to get a nice gap. Now the one thing is you want to make sure you're never bringing the field back to your teammates, of course. So before I put the hammer down, you can see me just coasting through here. I made sure I had a gap coming through that last corner, and there you go. You can see me look back in the shadow, and I'm like, okay, I've got a gap, pedal to the metal, let's get this gap down so that me and Lars can work together and try to stay away. And I just get into the best aero tuck that I can, trying to bring him back. And I mean, let's just talk about what's happened so far, right? It's been pretty much 3 or 4 pretty chill laps, followed by a really hard attack by 2 people from the same team, and Berkeley's not chasing. Berkeley's the other big team here, and anyone else who has a team here, I think there's one rider from SJSU and one rider from Stanford. But other than that, it's pretty much exclusively Berkeley and Davis out here.
Lars, ease up just a bit.
Yeah, so I just shout up to Lars, tell him, all right, ease up just a little bit so I can get in the draft, recover just a tiny little bit, and then I can pull through and we'll get this going. I tell him we've got a gap, and off we go. Yeah, and right here in the corner, the person we just passed, that's Dylan. He's our team's pretty much only A. He's the individual Omnium winner, the defending Omnium winner from last year, from the Collegiate Conference. Immensely powerful guy, and he was kind of coaching us on from the sidelines over there. So that was really nice. Shout out to him for doing that. But yeah. So just the other thing with Davis is it is aggressively flat, right? The big thing in Davis is the wind. So on this back straight, we've got a pretty strong headwind, and that means on the finishing straight, we've got a pretty strong tailwind. Luckily, there was not much crosswind on the two sides, but the back straight and the main straight did have wind affected conditions. So you can just see we're just sort of rolling turns at 25, 26 miles an hour. And we sort of just stay in this position for a couple laps. And then at some point we start taking slightly longer turns. We ease up just a tiny bit. So instead of saying 25 mile an hour, Dylan's in the corner saying stay after it. But yeah, no, it's instead of taking 25 mile an hour turns, we start moving back to 23 mile an hour turns, just trying to conserve our energy. Because it was about at this point we realized, okay, we're staying away. Berkeley's not pulling us back, but we're also we had 30 seconds, but we weren't putting in any more time into Berkeley. So we didn't want to burn ourselves out in case Zicheng and Max put together a concerted chase effort. And at this point, we sort of just fall into a rhythm, just taking pull after pull, just trying to keep the speed up and keep Berkeley away from us. And at this point, we've been rotating for 10 or so minutes, and this is only a 30-minute race.
Lars, if this makes it, you take the win. If this makes it to the line, you take the win today. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm just telling Lars, yeah, if it makes it to the line today, you take the win. Because the previous day had been my birthday again, and he basically more or less wound up leading out the entire field for me to take first in the D. So it's okay, cool. We're in a position where if this makes it to the line, I can return the favor. And we're still getting a 1-2. Yesterday, he was second in the Ds, I was first in the Ds. Today, it works out if he's first in the Ds, I'm second in the Ds. It's a team win, and you know what? I'm still getting a podium, so it's good for the team. It's good for me. So I'm happy to put in the work so that he can get a win today. I'm just coming up on some lap riders. And around a lap later, we're still trading pulls, and I look back as we get into this second to the last corner, and I realize, darn.
They're back.
And sure enough, Max and Zicheng from Cal have made it back on.
Hey, Max. A little pooped.
Max asked us how we were doing, and I just responded, yeah, we're a little pooped. Yeah, I mean, we'd been on the front for, at this point, this is around 20 minutes into the 30-minute race. So, the legs are screaming at us a little bit. And
Yes, sir.
perfectly, Jackson, again, one of our teammates, counterattacks as soon as we're brought back. Because, again, we have the numbers in the field. We have to do the attacking. We have to do the chasing. So, sketchy moment there. Jared gets put off of his wheel by the Stanford guy he was following and nearly takes out Lars, but you know what, it's fine. But yeah, at this point we realize, okay, look, if it's going to come down to a field sprint, we have to do our best lead out for Jackson, try to keep him away, because at this point, me and Lars have dropped all the other Ds. Pretty much every single other person in this 7 or 8 man group is a C. So we've dropped the remaining Ds. Regardless, me and Lars are going to finish 1-2 or 2-1 in the Ds. What we need to do is try to maximize our team's points by getting Jackson and, if we can, Jared to the line in as high of a position as we can. So at this point, I personally make the decision that it's time for it's time for us to change the way we're doing things and get ready basically to give Jackson a lead out on the final lap if he gets brought back. And if he doesn't get brought back, make sure that we try to get Jared as high as we can.
Inside.
So, unfortunately, with about 5 minutes left to go, Jackson does get brought back, which leaves us with me, Lars, and Jackson, basically, from Davis in this lead group. And again, me and Lars have long since more or less guaranteed a win in the Ds. We've lapped the 3rd place D rider. So at this point, it's more of a matter of making sure that Jackson gets as high as he can so that we get the most points for the team again. And what we decide, I decide to just tell Jackson, okay, hey, look, here's how this is going to go. I'm going to give you a lead out. I don't know who else is going to be able to sit on the wheel, but I'm going to give you a lead out so that we can try to get you on the podium. Unfortunately, at this point, the GoPro died, so there was no more footage from this point onwards. However, what wound up happening is I wound up leading out the field, and Max from Berkeley did wind up taking the win. However, my lead out did manage to get Jackson 2nd in the Cs, and of course, me and Lars went 1-2. And yeah, overall, it was just a really nice race, and yeah, can't wait to come back next year.